It's Friday, June 26. This is the news on PBCJ. I'm Simone Absalom. As at Friday morning, Jamaica has recorded 6 new COVID-19 cases and 5 additional recoveries. This brings to 684 the total number of confirmed positives and 526 the number of recoveries. The new cases are comprised of 2 males and 4 females with ages ranging from 6 to 35 years. They are from Westmoreland, St. James, Kingston, St. Andrew, Hanover, and Trelawney. 4 of the cases are imported, having arrived on flights from the United States, and another 2 are contacts of a confirmed case. Health authorities are now processing some 70 COVID-19 tests administered in West Kingston following recent confirmation of 5 cases of the virus in the area. Staff from the Ministry of Health and Wellness, including nurses, public health inspectors, public health nurses, and community health aides, are conducting house-to-house visits. These activities began on Wednesday and will continue on Friday. The Health Ministry said the 5 cases in West Kingston are contacts of a confirmed case that had recently returned to the island from the United States. The ministry is urging the residents of West Kingston to continue to cooperate with the health team on the ground. On Wednesday, the Victoria Jubilee Hospital opened a brand new Dependency Pro-Mac unit thanks to the generous help from the European Union.
So it's a very happy moment for myself and for my European Union colleagues, because today we are delivering to the government and people of Jamaica a facility that will help to ensure that all women with high-risk pregnancies who need high-quality healthcare facilities and life-saving equipment will be able to benefit from those services. And it's a special privilege to be here at the Victoria Jubilee Hospital. I know it's a favorite hospital to many Jamaicans and women in particular. And I want to thank the management and staff for accommodating us today. I also want to acknowledge the important role this hospital plays in delivering maternal and childcare, as well as gynecological and reproductive health services to pregnant women from across Jamaica over the years. We salute you.
This hospital births approximately 6,000 to 8,000 babies per year, and as such is the largest maternal hospital in the English-speaking Caribbean. Health and Wellness Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton welcomed the unit.
This today is an indication that we're committed. I want to place on record our appreciation to the European Union, but to you here also at Victoria Jubilee Hospital, and to say to those who will access the service, let us ensure that we use it in a way that it was intended, and let our lifestyle and our approach to using it reduce the necessity for the complications which may require the kind of high dependency service that should be there, but hopefully not used nearly as often enough.
The hospital was outfitted with a 6-bed high-dependency unit and a brand-new operating theatre. The improvements also include the expansion of the neonatal facilities to accommodate 4 high-dependency beds and the refurbishing of a 24-bed general nursery. Tourism Minister Edmund Bartlett says the government will be looking to establish special protocols for visitors who plan to stay at Airbnb accommodations and villas amid the pandemic, the COVID-19. Speaking on the morning agenda on Power 106, Mr. Bartlett said short-term rentals were not considered as part of protocols for the first phase of the country's reopening. He said while the government rigorously monitors visitors to the island via the Jam COVID website, it will be difficult to monitor persons at Airbnb properties. Results of the primary exit profile should be out today, June 26. Student scores and placement for the 2020 PEP will be available to schools at 2 p.m. Parents and guardians will be able to access the results online at 4 p.m. In a media release Thursday afternoon, the Education Ministry said it is aware of some parents having challenges registering on the parent portal. It said these issues are being addressed and will not affect the release of Friday's results. The Meteorological Service of Jamaica has taken steps to improve forecasting and other related weather services. According to Minister Darrell Vaz, these include the signing of a contract for the design, construction of a Doppler radar, and the establishment of a radar station in the last financial year.
For this financial year, the Met Service will establish a comprehensive bushfire warning index and replace the Doppler radar by December 2020. It will also implement impact-based weather forecast products and installed a ground-based satellite reception system during this financial year.
Still on the matter of changing weather conditions, Mr. Vaz also cautioned Jamaicans to prepare for an extended dry period. He was making his contribution to the sectoral debate in the House of Representatives on Tuesday.
As the Met Office is predicting continued dry conditions for the island from June to August, the island experienced an average of 40% of normal rainfall last month. 40%, Mr. Speaker. At the same time, the Met Office is reporting that based on the model's temperatures will be above the normal, and this will undoubtedly contribute to the drying trend across the island.
The Sahara dust cloud, which has been affecting the island, has begun to dissipate. However, we're not out of the woods yet. A second plume of the Saharan dust is reportedly on its way and has already started to move across the eastern Caribbean. As the Saharan air layer continues to drift from the tropical Atlantic Ocean into the Caribbean, Jamaica will also be impacted over the weekend. Director of the Meteorological Service, Evan Thompson, provides an update.
The last time I was here, we were talking about the Saharan air layer moving across into the Caribbean and into the Jamaica area, and that dust plume that was coming along with it that would have covered the island and caused a lot of a big change in the environmental conditions. Well, it has been our reality over the past few days. We've seen the dust over the island. Some sections of the country we could barely see farther than, say, about 3 kilometers in the distance. If you take a look out toward in the general direction, you now are able to see a lot better than we were able to see a couple of days ago, at least yesterday when it was at its worst. But now we're starting to see that conditions are beginning to look a little bit more favorable. The dust is subsiding to some extent, and we're again seeing an increase in our visibility as we can see farther distances. However, we're not over it entirely. This is a break in what we're seeing. We are expecting that it will continue through into the weekend. But when we get to late Saturday going into Sunday, it's likely that we'll start to see a little bit of a build-up once again. It's not expected to be what it was like over the past few days. It's not expected to be as intense, as thick, or really covering the area in the way that it did. The visibility is expected to be reduced slightly, but not as much as it did before, as it was before. So we are expecting that we will see another phase, because this thing happens in phases, actually with waves moving across with the trade winds, as I mentioned the last time. And we are expecting that we will see again another dust layer covering sections of the country. We will see visibilities reduced a little again during the course of next week. It will go at least at the beginning of the week, Sunday into Monday. We're still watching to see what will happen after that. We could be seeing an improvement as well as we could see some deterioration. So we are watching very closely. I'm not sure how this dust plume has been impacting you and your health. Hopefully you've been wearing your mask. Hopefully you've been keeping safe. We are expecting that situation is not entirely going away right now. So please continue to take the kinds of precautions you've been taking. But you should not be alarmed. It's not something that's going to cause any physical danger or damage to your skin or anything like that. It's really dust circulating in the atmosphere, suspended in the atmosphere, sometimes deposited on surfaces, but we are not expecting that it will affect us much more, well, significantly more than that, apart from if you have respiratory illnesses. And so you should continue to observe all the precautions that you've been taking thus far.
Let's now join Gabriel Thompson for an extended edition of the Business Report.
When you select your favorite vegetables in your local supermarket or from a vendor, do you stop to think of where they came from? And when you hear the word farmer or farming, what comes to mind? The Agro Investment Corporation, AIC, wants you to think of farming as a business. The AIC is the agribusiness facilitation arm of the government of Jamaica's Ministry of Industry, Commerce, Agriculture and Fisheries. The corporation is responsible for stimulating, facilitating and developing agriculture through advisory and management.
We have 7 agri-parks that we're in charge of, but the 7 is not like it's going to be 7 all the time. We have additional agri-parks coming on stream. And because the concept of agri-parks is so powerful, important, and can really produce what you want to be produced, the government is relying on building more agri-parks for us and getting the good management. Because one of the distinctions between agri-parks and general agriculture anywhere is that we have irrigation going through the year. So you don't have to wait until special season to plant.
More importantly, it ensures the utilization of government-owned agricultural assets, including agro-parks where investor farmers lease lands and plant crops. Investor farmers of the agro-parks, also known as small ruminant investments, are provided with management systems and technical on-site support. One facilitator of this support is Park Manager Georgia Curtis. Here she is outlining her duties.
I do a lot of stuff. I manage the operation of the agro-park, and some of my roles and responsibility. I maintain farm road. The soil type here is clay, so it is easily waterlogged and it takes a long time to dry out. So I have to maintain the road by applying shingles and clean the drainage so that when it rains we don't have the farmlands flooding and stuff like that. I also provide training on good agricultural practices such as food safety training, farmers health and hygiene training, just to name a few. And time to time, I will interact with the farmers, as to, what's going on with their crop, their experience in growing the crop, and, we'll walk the field and see if we see any problem as it relates to pests and diseases, and try to find the recommendation that can help them to, maintain all of that.
PBCJ journeyed to the Amity Hall Agro Park in St. Catherine to speak with the farmers themselves. This is Jayados Prabaha, but everyone calls him Pablo. His farm currently sits on approximately 20 acres of land at the Amity Hall Agro Park. Mr. Prabaha, who started farming in 1995, is a trained agronomist with a master's degree in agriculture. Let's ask him what he plants.
All different vegetables, like 40 different vegetables I grow. We have tomatoes, sweet pepper, cucumber, cantaloupe, melon, cabbage, anything you call it as. In addition to that, we have all Chinese vegetables also, like this is fuga, karila, and we have siga, dunga, so many Chinese vegetables, Chinese eggplant, tindora, so many other things, In addition to that, we have herbs also, like spinach, kale, parsley, cilantro, all those things also.
All farmers in the agro-parks are required to have a market for their produce. Some plant cassava crops for distilleries, while others plant pepper for seasoning and other food products. Pablo tells us about his market.
I am supplying to supermarkets, I am supplying to chain of Mega Mart as well as progressive stores. So I normally control most of the vegetables, what they want, I grow it by myself.
Thanks to the crops he plants and markets he supplies, Pablo's harvesting period is not the same as other farmers.
Every Wednesday and Thursday. Because we have been planting, every 15 days we plant new crops. So continuously I want to make sure that supermarkets get the goods on a consistent basis.
Let's take a quick look at how the plants make their way from the field to your local supermarket. This is the business of food.
In Thursday's trading session, the JSE combined index advanced by 312 points to close at under 400,000 units. Overall market activity resulted from trading in 79 stocks, of which 29 advanced, 36 declined, and 14 traded firm. The junior market index advanced by 12 points to close at under 3,000 units. Stocks advanced for Barita Investments Limited, Blue Power Group, and Carreras Limited. Stocks declined for 138 Student Living Jamaica, 1834 Investments Limited, and Berger Paints Jamaica. Trading firm were Siboney Group Limited, Epley Caribbean Property Fund, and G West Corporation Limited. Wigton Wind Farm Limited ordinary shares was the volume leader with 4.3 million units, followed by Trans Jamaican Highway Limited with 3.5 million units and JMMB Group Limited with over 1 million units. Now for the foreign exchange. The US dollar on Thursday, June 25 ended trading at $139.88. The Canadian dollar sold for an average $106.14. The pound sterling traded for $177.57, and the euro ended trading at $161.24. Oil prices inched up on Friday as the bullish impetus from signs of fuel demand recovery was kept in check by a rising number of new coronavirus cases in the United States and China, and tentative expectations of U.S. output ticking up. Brent crude futures gained 38 cents to $41.43 a barrel. West Texas Intermediate crude futures rose 39 cents to $39.01 a barrel. And that's it for the business report on PBCJ. I'm Gabrielle Thompson.
For the latest happenings, we go to Alicia Steele for the entertainment recap.
Wagwan. I'm your girl, Alicia, and welcome back to another episode of PBCJ's Entertainment Recap. Let's get into it. So then, New York attorney at law, Chauncey Henry, has decided to organize a sound clash. The musical battle will involve Clash Kings Tony Matterhorn and Pink Panther. The online event will happen on July 4th and will also pay respects to the selectors who have played an integral role in keeping the country's clash culture alive. Then this no bad. Internet sensation Rose from Montego Bay was asked for a hand in marriage by a longtime boyfriend, Exford. Oh, they're expecting a baby. Congrats to you too. See? Words from Yannick Curvy Diva Barrett herself after being locked out of her Instagram verified account for 4 months. This is what she had to say to Wally British about it.
It was nice seeing you, my love. Listen, look what let me tell you, after Instagram, because I whole heap of confusion going with Instagram. Whole heap of things, because I say my account, but then because me forget the password, them I say on my own, hacker try to take it their things. But look how your main account?
My main account, that's why I do the backup page and I said to myself, say, yo, what a wicked time, what is a corona, yeah? Aye, but everything...
Oh, you said you send out and you forget your password?
Listen, my phone crashed first, and then now, me go back in now for try get in for my Instagram, but me forget my password, so me I send in request. But I don't know which account whatever, and me don't know what one, but Instagram tell me, say, hold on, me need more verification, all sort of stuff. Me I say, hold on, me not verified, do not go check on the file. Check on the file and come reach me.
Welcome back, Curvy Diva. And so, dancehall artist D-Angel is now on OnlyFans with 100,000 subscribers. With a picture posed on the edge of a poolside with a very scenic backdrop, she urges her Instagram followers to go subscribe to her OnlyFans page. OnlyFans is an online adult entertainment website. It seems like OnlyFans is a vibe for our local celebs because all Popcorn sister want join too. Thanks again, guys, for watching PBCJ's Entertainment Recap. I'm your host, Alicia. And remember to follow us on all socials at pbcjamaica. And big ups to Ear Candy Collections for my earring, of course. And follow them to know at the Ear Candy Collection. Yeah. And always and forever, big up you.
In regional news, the Caribbean Court of Justice, CCJ, has not yet decided whether it has jurisdiction to hear the appeal matter filed by the People's Progressive Party. PPP attorney Douglas Mendez wants the CCJ to retract the final report from the Chief Elections Officer, Keith Lowenfield, which has already been submitted to GCOM. On Thursday, the CCJ says it has not yet decided if it has jurisdiction to hear the matter, and that such a determination can only be made after submissions have been received. News source Guyana's Gordon Mosley filed this report.
The APNU-AFC and the United Republican Party have joined the election declaration case that has been taken before the Caribbean Court of Justice as respondents. The two were not part of the initial case heard by the Guyana Court of Appeal. The Caribbean Court of Justice this afternoon set a rigid timetable for the hearing of the matter next Wednesday. The People's Progressive Party Civic is seeking an appeal of the Guyana Court of Appeal's decision that the words "more votes than" as stated in the Guyana Constitution means more valid votes. During a case management conference this afternoon, the attorneys for the applicants and the respondents in the matter were told by Justice Adrian Saunders that they will all have to limit their written submissions to 10 pages.
We are on a tight time frame because naturally everybody would like to have this matter over with as soon as practicable. We would like the written submissions to be in, all the written submissions to be in by Monday at 4 p.m. And we do not want submissions that go on and on and on that are repetitious or delve into matters which are not particularly relevant. We think that your submissions could be succinctly captured in no more than 10 pages. Each page with a spacing of at least 1.5.
The applicant's submission should be filed by Saturday morning, while the respondents will have to file their submissions by Sunday afternoon. The applicant's response will have to be completed and filed by Tuesday morning before the Wednesday morning hearing. It was made clear by the judges of the CCJ this afternoon that they have not yet decided on whether the court has jurisdiction on the matter. One judge said he wanted that to be made very clear.
I would like to express the very firm conviction that all counsel will convey to all persons who may listen to them that this court has not decided it has jurisdiction. Thank you.
Yes, yes, that is something which we will only decide after we've heard all the submissions and made our decision on that matter. So that the fact that we've had this case management conference, or that we are making orders to receive submissions, is not to be taken as if we have already decided the issue of jurisdiction. It is an issue which we have to decide. In order to decide it, we have to put in place certain management processes and receive your submissions, and that is all that is being done up to this point.
The Attorney General of Guyana has argued that the CCJ does not have jurisdiction to hear the matter, since the Guyana Court of Appeal ruling on that particular matter was final. On Wednesday, the attorneys will make their oral presentations, and all of the presentations will be completed on that day. The application by the PPP is seeking 5 main orders, including an order to throw out the local court's ruling. Justice Saunders said today that the matters will be dealt with expeditiously. All of the hearing will be done via video conference, as the CCJ continues to have guidelines in place to guard against the coronavirus pandemic.
The Saharan dust is causing visibility issues for fishermen in St. Lucia. The dust storm has been affecting the Caribbean region over the past week as it moves across the Atlantic into the United States. Gina Felipe of HTS News Force reports.
While ocean ecosystems may benefit from the massive Saharan dust cloud, the same cannot be said for fishermen. The plume has covered Caribbean skies in brown-gray hues and festooned the landscape in soot. Weather officials indicate the cloud could pose a health risk, but for fishermen, the dust storm is also obscuring their view on the waters. This may result in a lower catch for seafarers.
It has caused a significant impact on the lives of fishermen. The number one problem we have is visibility. The distance you could actually see something on the sea is cut by more than half. Okay? Now, as a fisherman go out there are certain things that you have to look out for. For example, a flock of birds. This simplifies that. There is just full of fish somewhere there, or floating objects.
It is the worst dust storm experienced in the region in 10 years. Researchers at the University of Reading attribute the dust plume to a few smaller systems over West Africa. One Beaufort fisherman says the low visibility may delay response times to vessels in need of assistance.
Sometimes you could pass a request about 100 yards by a boat in distress and you may not see it. And then you only out there, you don't have a cell phone. You wouldn't get a transmission from your cell phone, so which means that passing close to a vessel, the vessel might see you, you might not see the vessel, and then next thing when you come back to shore, you have to go back in the same area you came from to find that vessel that is in distress.
The dust is so thick it can be seen via satellite. Ali Gray says fishermen may not be able to gauge distance traveled due to the thick haze.
Sometimes we go 80, we go 75 miles. Now, if whiter that weather, you can't travel that distance. Because you have to, as we said before, it's birds giving you fish. If there are birds, you know there's fish around. If your customer working in one area, 80 miles, you have to cut it down because you can't go a distance. And to look for land, you can't get land. Sometimes you can never tell if your compass will stop or your GPS. So that is always a little problem for us as fishers.
The dust plume is expected to clear by the end of the week. However, another possible system may be hot on its trail. Gina Filippi, HTS News Force.
In sports, we kick off with football. Reggae Boy goalkeeper Amal Knight has joined United Soccer League One Club FC Tucson on loan from San Diego Loyals in the USL Championship until the end of the season. The 26-year-old has made this move in order to get playing time. The former UFC goalkeeper has 8 caps for the Reggae Boys. And staying with football, FIFA is set to disperse $1.5 billion in grants and loans as a relief fund to help associations impacted by the novel coronavirus. FIFA President Gianni Infantino says the relief fund has been unanimously approved by members of its council. All 211 member associations will be entitled to a basic solidarity grant of $1 million each, as well as $500,000, which must be invested in women's football. In addition, member associations can also apply for a COVID-19 relief loan worth 35% of their revenue, up to a maximum of $5 million each. Over to cricket. As a warm-up for their first Test match against England, the 25-man touring squad are playing 2 intra-squad matches to serve as preparation. The squad has been split into 2 teams, with one team being captained by Craig Brathwaite and the other being captained by Jason Holder. The teams are named after their respective captains. The first match ended in a draw with the Brathwaite 11 posting 275 and 231 runs in adjusted overs, while the Holder 11 racking up 143 and 149 runs in both innings. Windies all-rounder Raymond Reifer, speaking at the end of the day, said there should be no concern about the side's batting since some batmen are still finding their feet after the COVID-19 imposed break on field activities. Akeem Green of Newsroom Guyana reports.
Reifer, whose figures read 13 overs, 1 maiden, 5 for 60, and actually took 5 wickets in 11 balls, felt the batsmen are still finding their feet. Though Reifer's scalps were mainly against the reserves, albeit he got the demise of Jason Holder, some of the usual Test players struggled to convert their starts.
I don't think it's a cause for concern. Obviously, this is our first game since everyone played first class cricket. I think that was in March, so this is our first cricket game. Some of the batters got some good scores in the game so far, so it's just about the rest of the batters finding their feet and being ready for that first test.
Opener Craig Brathwaite has shown the most consistency thus far as a batsman, and Reifer indicated the conditions are certainly not easy and is about them building confidence.
I'm not too worried because I think playing in England is one of the toughest conditions you're probably going to face as a batter. It's challenging. Some days the team can lose a lot of wickets for not many runs, but it's just to try to get past those periods and try to get the team in good positions.
According to the all-rounder, who's seeking to force his way into the playing 11 for the first test on July 8th, consistency in line and length did the trick today.
For me, I just try to get the ball finishing around the off stump, trying to get the batsman playing as much as possible. And I think conditions over here are pretty suitable for my style of bowling as well.
Thursday will mark the conclusion of the 3-day warm-up fixture, with a second match, a 4-day match, starting on July 29. For the newsroom, Akeem Green.
And that's the news. Thanks so much for joining us on PBCJ. I'm Simone Absalom.